Have you ever wondered what finally happens to the dragon? I'm talking about the ancient enemy, the one who has deceived nations, stirred chaos, and opposed God from the very beginning. People spend a lot of time talking about his origins. They spend even more time talking about what he does. During the end times, the Antichrist, the mark, the tribulation. But we rarely stop to ask about the absolute finality of his story. Not just what he does, but how his story ends. Because the Bible doesn't leave this unfinished. It doesn't leave us hanging in suspense, wondering if good and evil will be locked in an eternal stalemate. It reveals something final, something absolute, something that changes everything about how we view the struggles of our world today. Here's what most people miss when they read the book of Revelation. The dragon, Satan, is not just defeated once in a singular flashing moment. His end comes in stages. It is a deliberate, methodical dismantling of his power, and each stage reveals a deeper truth about God's justice, his perfect timing, and his complete, unrivaled authority over evil. The first stage of his defeat is his binding. Revelation chapter 20 gives us this staggering image. Scripture says, "And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years." This happens at the beginning of the millennial kingdom, the literal, physical reign of Jesus Christ on earth. I want you to really think about that. Stop and let the weight of that reality settle in. For 1,000 years, the one who deceived humanity, who influenced kings and corrupted kingdoms, who has been whispering lies into the ears of men and women since the Garden of Eden, is completely restrained, locked in the bottomless pit, sealed. No deception, no global manipulation, no spiritual darkness spreading like a virus across the nations. It is a world under Christ's perfect rule, with the dragon completely silenced. Now compare that to today. Look around. Right now we see confusion on a massive scale. We see deception woven into our cultures. We see moral compromise celebrated and spiritual blindness running rampant. The Bible calls Satan the god of this world and the prince of the power of the air. He is actively influencing hearts, twisting systems, and fueling the darkness we see on the evening news. We look at the world and ask, why is it so hard? Why is there so much hate? Because there is an active deceiver. But during the millennium, that influence is entirely gone. This tells us something incredibly powerful about the world we live in right now. Much of the chaos we see isn't random. It's not just human nature misfiring. There is a real coordinated spiritual force behind it. And when that force is finally removed, the world changes in ways we can barely comprehend. War ceases. Justice reigns. The earth is filled with the knowledge of the Lord. But here's where the story gets intense. Here is the part that makes people uncomfortable. After 1,000 years of unprecedented peace, the dragon is released, just for a little season. Scripture says in Revelation 23, written after that he must be loosed a little season. Why? Why would God allow that? Why take the enemy after finally locking him away, after the world has tasted 1,000 years of perfect peace, and let him out again? This is where many believers struggle. It feels counterintuitive, but it reveals a deep, devastating truth about the human heart. You see, during that 1,000-year reign, generations will be born. They will live in a perfect environment. They will have a perfect king. They will experience perfect justice. No war, no poverty, no systemic corruption. They will have every external advantage that humanity has ever claimed to need to be good. But even after 1,000 years of perfect rule under Christ, when the dragon is released, people still choose rebellion when given the chance. Let that sink in. It's not just about Satan, it's about the condition of humanity. The release of the dragon exposes something hidden and terrifying, that without true internal transformation, even a perfect environment cannot change the human heart. We like to blame our surroundings. We say, if society was better, if the government was better, if the economy was fair, humanity would thrive. The millennial release of Satan proves that the core problem of humanity is not environmental. It is spiritual. And in that brief moment of release, Satan does what he has always done. He deceives. He goes out to the four corners of the earth. He gathers people again. He stirs rebellion against the King of Kings one last time. He finds a massive army of people who enjoyed the blessings of Christ's kingdom on the outside, but never surrendered to him on the inside. But this time, it doesn't last. There is no long, drawn-out war. There is no geopolitical maneuvering. There is no uncertainty about the outcome, because this is the final chapter. They march on the beloved city surrounding the saints. It looks like the ultimate crisis. But God doesn't even send an army to meet them. He just speaks. Fire comes down from God out of heaven and devours them. And then comes the sentence that echoes into eternity. Revelation 20:10. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. That's it. No escape. No return. No more influence. No more deception. Forever. This is not a symbolic delay. This is permanent, absolute judgment. The dragon who once stood in the courts of heaven, the one who walked in Eden, the one who tried to tempt Jesus in the wilderness, the one who has terrorized humanity for millennia, ends in complete, unrecoverable defeat. The door is shut. The lock is turned. The ancient war is over. Now here's the part most people overlook. This ending isn't just about Satan. It's about truth winning over deception. It's about light finally and permanently overcoming darkness. It's about God's authority standing unchallenged for eternity. It means that every lie ever told will be answered. Every injustice that broke your heart will be accounted for. Every hidden work of darkness will be brought into the blazing light of final judgment. So where does that leave us today? It forces a choice. Because the exact same story that ends with the dragon's destruction also speaks about those who follow truth versus those who follow deception. There is no middle ground in the end. The dividing line is absolute. Either we align with the King who reigns, or we are swept up in the rebellion that ultimately falls. This message isn't just an interesting piece of biblical prophecy. It's a warning and it's an invitation. It is a severe warning that deception is real, it is active, and it is powerful. It wants to lull you to sleep. It wants you to compromise. It wants you to doubt the goodness and the authority of God. But it is also an incredible invitation, an invitation to step into the truth before it's too late. To secure your life in the hands of the King who has already won the war. Because the dragon story ends permanently in defeat. But your story is still being written. So stand firm today. Choose truth over convenience. Choose faith over fear. Choose Christ over the shifting sands of this world. If this opened your eyes even a little, stay with this message. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. There is more to uncover, more truth to understand, and more clarity ahead. Because in a world full of noise, chaos, and confusion, clarity is everything.